Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the morning these videos come in Hindi and English, and in the evening the PIB videos, they come both in Hindi and English. And today is Monday, so much information is there. So we are going to start now. And the motivational line, talks do not cook rice. It's a Chinese proverb, and it's a real practical line. You see, it is practical for us, it is practical for all the aspirants, it is practical for politicians, it is practical for citizens, it is practical for the youth who is posting things on social media and hailing themselves as patriotic just by giving support, online support to these soldiers and all. So you see, talks, they don't cook rice. Do things as they are real. You see, if I'm a student, if I'm a teacher, if I don't do my job, then certainly I'm doing a great harm to my nation and to my life, to my parents, to my society, everyone. If I'm working as a teacher, if I'm working as a doctor, if I'm working as a lawyer, and if I am fulfilling my responsibilities properly and I'm doing my work with honesty, then nothing can be more nationalistic, nothing can be more patriotic than that. And certainly soldiers are really great, they are giving their lives at stake and just for us. But this is our real support if we do our if we fulfill our responsibility in a proper way, and if we do not talk much and we work more, then this is the real support to our soldiers also. And you see, it is totally applicable to us, because if we are doing only talks during our preparation, then certainly the result would be totally negative for us. That's a very practical platform. So you all are very smart and intelligent people, and you call on these numbers and you can ask for these pen drive courses by StudyIQ. These are excellent courses, these are going to help you immensely and are gonna save your a lot of time. And these are the words that I found in the today's newspaper, and try them in these sentences. And the editorials today, you see this the editorials that I'm taking today, these are only important editorials. Apart from that, all are political ones, so those are not important. And one article regarding the Trump and the emergency declaration, we have discussed that previously also. Nothing new has been said there. Now this article you can take as very crucial from GS point of GS paper 3 and GS paper 2 also, and it's a social issue now, so GS paper 1 also and GS paper 4, because many case studies, they can be brought out of the situations, aggravated situations in these times, and essay, all of them. So very crucial and very explanatory article this is. The challenge in the Pulwama attack. You see, India cannot achieve its strategic objectives if Kashmiris remain targets of harassment and minorities are vilified. What is happening today? On the ground, we need to think a lot. We need to think about our strategies. Whatever lacks, those were there, and whatever ignorances that were shown by some authorities, or maybe our political establishment, or maybe citizens, or maybe anyone, okay, we need to think about them. We need to introspect about our lacks. But we are much more in aggression today, and we are not cool-headed. And in these times of aggression, it is very hard to introspect, it is very hard to think thoroughly into these situations. And you see, when we are aggravating these social tensions within our nation, when people are targeting now Kashmiris and the minorities and all, so it is not going to be any way fruitful, and it is going to be a very dangerous situation, because it is the election time. And you see, this unfortunate incident has happened on a very crucial time, where anything about India is political now. Any kind of move, any kind of struggle, any kind of initiative, any kind of saying is going to be controversial, and parties are going to take advantage of the situation. So it's very likely and very easy that riots may happen. People are very much aggressive these days. They were already aggressive during these election times, and now this is like an atom bomb has been blasted on them. And their aggressions, they are not finding any channels now. So these targeting of these minorities, Kashmiris and all, so certainly they can create a very dangerous situation within our nation. So next, what is going to happen? We are going to deal with the situations, negative aggravated situations within our nations, and all our forces, they would be diverted within our nation's territory, and in all these states, in all these cities where all these tensions, they may rise and they may go up to next level. Then certainly this particular introspection and this particular move, initiative that we need to take now against Pakistan, these all will be ruined. Now if we talk about all the angles related with the problem, first we would start with the Pakistan's condition. Pakistan's condition was so pitiable when a Trump administration that went totally against this country, and they stopped all kinds of fundings and all, and they said that this country is totally unnecessary in the region, and we have helped this country a lot, but it has not helped us in controlling these terror groups, and they are much more powerful today. And the condition of Taliban, everyone knows. So they stopped the funding, but within no time, within a few months, the situation is totally reversed when USA is now demanding support from Pakistan, because it is the reason that is Taliban was raised and supported by Pakistan always. In 1990s, Taliban was raised by Pakistan, and these terror groups, they were totally having the support of the Pakistan's military. Now when Taliban's condition is rising, and when Taliban is totally powerful, and all these countries including USA, they are bound to negotiate with this country, then certainly Pakistan is again confident. But that's a different situation. What was happening? They were totally going to docs, and Bajwa doctrine. What was that? This Bajwa doctrine was that they were trying to give us a friendship hand, and they said that we want a friendly relationship with India after the new government of Imran Khan that appeared on the political scene. Now they both, the political establishment and the military, they both were coming together, and not any robust move we saw, but certainly the positive talks were there. Okay, so that was supposed to be a hand of friendship. And after that, Kartarpur corridor happened. So the presence of Imran Khan on the inauguration ceremony and all, and this was something going on very positive in a way. But now all these things are actually unreliable. Why? Because it keeps supporting these terror groups. Jaish-e-Mohammed is moving freely, and it has done anything to support Masood Azhar in not declaring him as an international terrorist. And still the situations are same, and they have not done anything to stop these terror groups and these militants infiltration. So that is why this friendship hand is somewhat very suspicious, and always something like that happens, then India is always very much alerted. This Kargil war happened when this was a hug between Nawaz Sharif and Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and the same time the infiltration happened, and they tried to capture the Tiger Hill. So these things are always making us very much suspicious about Pakistan. And now this Pulwama happened. All these things were going in on a positive note, and certainly this dastardly and one of the worst attack in 30 years long proxy war. This is a proxy war because there is no direct confrontation, and Pakistan has no guts to involve with us with a direct confrontation. It's a proxy war. First they were sending these hired militants, and now they are recruiting local youths. They are observing the situation of Kashmir every day, and these separatist groups and all, they are all supporting this idea. And anyhow, all these activities are having two directions. First, you see, in these two directions, things actually are different for the state of Jammu and Kashmir, because that demography is somewhat different. It is different from the mainland India, and the cultural differences are there, and it's a Muslim dominated state of India, only state of India. and you see nationally we have a defense framework, and certainly these local recruits are also terrorists for the nation of India. So certainly they would be targeted, they would be neutralized. But you see these are locally recruited maybe students, maybe youth, or maybe boys. Then certainly the local people, they have a emotional connection, they have all the support for their survival. So if our defense establishment, if our military people, security personnel, they are targeting these militants, actually these are terrorists. So the issue happened in the last 4-5 years when they neutralized many these kind of militants who were locally recruited, and that has created a lot of disturbance in the local people, and their psychology is totally changed against India. Now see, they want to protect these local youth, but they are against the state of India. So this confusing state and this particular troubled dilemma is actually beneficial for Pakistan, and especially these terror groups. They are taking a full advantage of the situation, because anyway we take any kind of step, that is gonna have some kind of controversy, and controversy on the Jammu Kashmir scenario is certainly helpful for these terror groups. And that's why this is a particular very negative and dangerous development in the valley, that they are recruiting local youth. And you see these all are between the age group of 17 to 25, and as I told you, these are always enormous amount of unchanneled energies. They don't know much about the future, and they don't know how to give direction to their energies. They cannot think in a mature way, and we should take care about these youth. Not only in Jammu and Kashmir, even in India, we need to take care about them. You see, today because of the political reasons and these political parties, they are exploiting these youths, the 17 to 25 groups, and they are full of energy and they can become aggressive within no time. So that is why what is happening in the mainland of India, if we keep Jammu Kashmir somewhat apart, because the political scenario is totally different there, what is happening in the rest part of the India? They are totally aggressive, targeting Kashmiris, targeting minorities, and the speeches and the posts, they are so provocative. So the same thing happened with Kashmir. These youths were attracted by these energies and provocative speeches of these terror groups and all these recruiters, and that is why now they have left education, they have left all the inclination towards developmental measures, and they are attracted towards these groups, these recruiters, and that's really very unfortunate. You see, we are talking about the official information, I'm talking about the particular articles that are appearing for the Jammu and Kashmir, but maybe the situation is different in Kashmir, because always the Kashmiri students and all the people from Kashmir, they complained in a different way. So that's a very complex scenario, but the one thing is totally correct, that these people, these recruiters, they are taking advantage of this disturbed scene. Now see, these developments where resurgence of IED uses, improvised explosive devices. You see, these are improvised devices, so they have technical experts, these are called IED doctors, and they improvise these explosive devices, and these are used instantly, because these may be caught in security checks and all, but IEDs are really these kind of devices that are highly unpredictable. Okay, so that is why the resurgence of IED attacks. Last it happened in 2008, and the same road was attacked in 2004. And you see, the uses of car bombing is really a cause of concern, because these kind of tactics are used in Syria and Iraq, where ISIS was working. So if these connections between these bodies like ISIS, Taliban and Jaish-e-Mohammed and all, if these connections are established, if they are targeting Kashmir here in these ways, then certainly it's a great cause of concern, because the situations are totally out of hands in Kashmir. So we need to be cool headed at this time, because situations are becoming very dangerous and more dangerous may be there. So we need to think and we need to introspect heavily on this issue, and if any kind of disturbance, if that occurs because of the election scene in the India, in our country, then this would become impossible for us to tackle this situation in a positive way, and the way that can give us any kind of robust solution. Okay, so potential uses once again in Kashmir of these car bombings and IEDs, they are a cause of concern. And you see, suicide bombings were neither experienced in earlier years nor it has manifested itself yet in Kashmir, but these are happening now, and these are dangerous trends. And how can you predict any car that is coming having explosive inside it and hitting your convoy? That's really a cause of concern, and more causes of concerns are there when we have no information that how these people came to know that one of the bus was not bulletproof and that was only attacked. So that means there are leakages of information, how these people came to know about it. But you see, their networks and their reach is really a cause of concern for us. And Indian security forces have achieved much in the last 2 years in terms of neutralization or of terrorists. That's true. We have neutralized many terrorists, and that is unprecedented. So many, hundreds of them we have killed. But still, these people, they have balanced that. They have recruited local youths and other people, and they have raised same number of terrorists that are now working against the state of India. So that's again a cause of concern. So a lot of causes of concerns are accumulated here, and these are making this issue very complex. You see, the energy of these youth of 17 to 25 years of age, that is used here. IED doctors like technical experts, these are used. Car bombings are used, suicide bombings are used, and the aggravated situation in Kashmir, that is a cause of concern. And the elections in India, you see these combinations, we need to take care about these combinations. And that is why the intelligence bureau people and all, they were releasing some threats, and they were giving some alerts that these kind of attacks may happen, because this is a very sensitive time, election time. And Pakistan also knows about this, and the army and these terror groups, they also know about it, that situation in the elections of India, these are typical and very different. And anything if that sort is going to happen in Kashmir now, then certainly we would have very negative consequences, and all political parties are going to take advantage of the situation. They will blame each other, and the people of India, they are also typical. They will start fighting with all these minorities and all, and anyhow the situation is not going to be tackled properly, and that is happening, totally that is happening. And this is elections time. We always tend to do less and talk more. This happens. You see, the developed countries like America and all, they don't talk much about these security issues. They directly tackle with these issues. They make strategy silently and they execute their plans. But here in India, we don't make great plans, and we talk about them in whole world. And if these are elections, then you see whatever is happening, that you see that happens always. Okay. So unpredictability factor of IEDs and car bombings is so high that it forces a larger than normal deployment of security forces now. So that's really a cause of concern, and already these people are complaining that security forces are a problem in the local region. The UPSPA and all these issues are going on, and now this is happening. The issue of Pakistan, where economy was failing, FATF, Financial Action Task Force, that had declared Pakistan into its blacklist. These are negative concerns for Pakistan, but still they are able to do so because they are much more confident today. And as I explained to you, the situation of a reversed policy of America in the favor of Pakistan, when they are bound to take help from Pakistan today because of the Taliban factor, that is giving confidence to Pakistan. And the backing from China, that's a main reason. And you see, once again, it has acquired leverage with the big powers. Because Taliban is at focus, Afghan government is a total failure today. And India is anyhow isolated in this whole scenario of Afghanistan and US's withdrawal. Although US is demanding our support, but we cannot go blindly there. So that is why in a way we are isolated. We are not talking to Taliban, so preconditions are there. So that is why it's a very unfortunate combination of situations against the state of India and the Kashmir situation in between all of them. Now see, these groups sponsored and owned by Pakistan's intelligence agencies and the Pakistan's army, they are actually analyzing these situations very carefully, and that's the main reason that they came up with this kind of effective planning. And you see, although they are making their plans successful anyhow, but it is actually a very wrong assessment of Pakistan about India's capabilities and India's situation, because these things can turn very hostile for Pakistan. And time and again Pakistan has been wrong in the assessment it makes, and that can make this area very unstable, because this is so high time and political consensus is already there. Although it's election season, so this consensus is not gonna remain for a longer period of time, and that's also a cause of concern. So to be realistic, that is how the modern world functions on the power of public opinion. So public opinion is totally against Pakistan and totally against these aggravated situations and totally in the support of security forces. So anything may follow, and it's election time, so states are bound to act on these kind of situations, and India is certainly under a lot of pressure, mainly the NDA government. They need to take some solid steps now, otherwise elections are due and people are totally raised over this issue. So diplomacy is working at its own capacity, and these most favored nations and most favored nation status revoke and the Indus Water Treaty, these kind of things are going on, but these are not robust methods. We cannot inflict pain on the innocent people of Pakistan. That's true about our policy. Maybe Pakistan is doing anything, but that is not our mood, that is not our policy, that we would make Pakistan's normal population crying for water. So that is why these options are soft options and sans much optics. These are not much viable options, although most favored nations status revocal and we have raised the duties and all, these things are done, okay, and these things are gonna make a huge impact, but these are not long-term solutions. Military domain, we now have to focus. Surgical strikes, we need to increase their intensity. Even surgical air strikes we need to do now, okay, and our technical support is going to be very crucial here. And ground based operations restricted to Jammu and Kashmir and harking back to some of the options of the yesteryear could form a part of the overall response. So these things will be a part of the plan, and taking care about the state's situation is going to be of prime importance. That's okay, but additionally we need to raise these surgical strikes like operations, okay, and that is the only option available today. Otherwise both countries are nuclear states, and these aggravations are nowhere in the favor of whole world. So certainly international pressure is gonna come, but certainly it is high time that we need to take steps, and we have to take steps, okay. But the writer is saying time to be cool headed. We need to make plans, we need to make our strategies work. That is why we need to maintain a peace within India. Otherwise we will be engulfed into these negative developments within our country, and it's a very difficult time for India, because managing the stress, managing the aggression among public is not a simple thing, and people are really raised, and these emotions are obvious. But in these obvious situations we need to calm down. This is a time of a real test, and all people, not only government, people, citizens, they have this responsibility to keep these situations under control during this election phase. Otherwise, things will not work. That is the message of this article. And you can write many important points. You can write your organized points over this issue. This is the issue of security. This is the issue of management of the public's emotions, and that's crucial. Many case studies you can make here. And as a civil servant of the future, you have to deal with these kind of aggravations. So that is why a mains question and the essay topic is totally ready for you here. So this is your mains question for today. Write about these issues, and write about many issues in an isolated manner. Write about the aggression issue, write about the security issue, write about armed lapses, write about managing the local conditions in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and write about the situations where we need to manage on the national scene. Next article you can relate with the GS paper 2, and you see it is about the assessment of the 16th Lok Sabha. It was the end of 16th Lok Sabha, and it met for only 16-15 hours, 40% lower than the all full-term parliaments, 40% less on an average. Lost 16% of its time to disruptions, and met for only 331 days only. Average is 468 days, and they met 331 days only. And you see, some extreme events, they did not happen like they happened in 15th Lok Sabha when somebody used paper spray and all. So that did not happen. That was a savior. But certainly productivity was at all-time low. Question hours were disrupted. Only 18% of the starred questions, they got an oral reply. What are these starred questions? You see, some questions are extremely important, of grave concerns, of much public importance. So they are under category of starred questions, and they need a reply, oral reply from the ministers plus the written reply. And unstarred questions are there. There may be only written replies for those questions. So these star questions, only 18% of them were replied. So you can assess the responsibility factor of our legislative institutes, why we elect them, and how big this responsibility is, how big these concerns are among all the sectors, all the areas: financial, security, political, educational, health sector. But 18% they are replying. That's really unfortunate. And 16% they lost time in the disruptions. Only disruptions means nothing. Key legislation, some positive things were there, some positive developments, acts which were necessary to be passed. They were passed: GST Act and the IIM Act that gave autonomy to IIM, and Juvenile Justice Act. That was unfortunate, but that was necessary. When we are treating 16 to 18 years kids as adults, I would call them kids because they don't have their own mind. They can do anything like adults, but they cannot think like adults. So that's an unfortunate situation, and it's a social responsibility of everyone. But we are bound to change this Juvenile Justice Act, because many kids of 16 to 18 years old, they are involved in many heinous crimes. That is the thing. Treatment of mental health patients, HIV patients, and the rights of persons with disability. These three important bills were really progressive, and those are highly commendable that those were passed. Okay, and some efforts to address the issues of corruption. We also saw bribe giving, not bribe taking. Bribe taking was a offense already. Now bribe giving is also an offense. And fugitive, declaring people fugitives, those economic offenders who had fled the country, that was a positive one. And the Aadhaar Act. You see, Aadhaar Act was a commendable one and the controversial one both, because the big time scrutiny came about the Aadhaar Act when they passed it, making it as a money bill. That was a real trouble. You see, in Article 1110, it is given that there are going to be provisions, there are going to be conditions that you declare a bill as money bill. It should be related with the Consolidated Fund of India, the money which you are going to appropriate for that, and it should be related with the tax measures which are given in the Article 1110 only. So these provisions were one of the provisions of the Aadhaar Act, and this Aadhaar Act was made a money bill by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. because the power lies with the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, and that's why the present Speaker's decision was very much controversial and was under immense allegations that she behaved very partially towards the government in this matter, because no way you can define Aadhaar Act as a money bill, but they passed it because in the money bill Rajya Sabha cannot do anything. They can only give suggestions, and that is also not mandatory for the Lok Sabha to take them as amendments. They may refuse them, and within 14 days Rajya Sabha has to send it to Lok Sabha, and in a manner that Lok Sabha thinks appropriate, they can pass it as a bill. So that is why they passed many bills in this tenure of 16th Lok Sabha, making them money bill, and there were a lot of scrutinies that these cannot become money bills, these can come under the financial bill category, and there also a lot of conditions are there, but they did not care about them and they passed them, making them money bill. That was the issue. So this is given here in this particular article, that what was the problem with the money bill and the powers of the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, and the balancing should be there. And you see, in this manner we saw the financial bills like Foreign Contribution Act and NGT Act, Appellate Tribunal Act, and this Telecom Dispute Settlement and Appellate Tribunal. These things were made a change by this way, when they hailed them as money bills, or maybe those were financial bills, but they did not care about the conditions attached, and those things were arbitrary in a sense. If we evaluate them on the legislative values and the convention, then these things were arbitrary, and that was the allegation. And as I told you, this thing you should remember, Article 1110 is important here, Article 112 and 117, which are related with the financial bills. Okay, so these are important. Look for the chapter number 22 in the Lakshmikant's book. The whole chapter is extremely important, and there you will find all these conditions. Okay, and many questions are there in a single paragraph. So many questions you would see from this single chapter, so that you need to read here. And you see, this is evident that the government was able to have its way on every issue in the Lok Sabha and was held in check only due to the lack of majority in the Rajya Sabha. They did not have majority in the Rajya Sabha. That is why they could not pass many bills like Triple Talaq Bill and Citizenship Amendment Bill. Maybe they knew that they won't be able to pass it without Rajya Sabha's consent, and these people are never going to give consent. So that's the issue, that Rajya Sabha can be a positive check on the arbitrary legislation of the Lok Sabha. And if Lok Sabha is honest, the government is honest, these ministers are honest, then Rajya Sabha can be a supportive body here. And if the people in Lok Sabha, they are honest, and the people in Rajya Sabha, they are not honest, then certainly Rajya Sabha can act as a hindrance to these bills. So what happened in this tenure of 16th Lok Sabha, that we cannot say, but certainly the particular role of Rajya Sabha is very crucial. So this is also making a mains question here, that comment on the working of the Lok Sabha, and how the trends are being developed, and what needs to be done here. And next part of this article is regarding the anti-defection law that has created much of the problem here. Why? Because you see, we have established a system here where individual opinion of these MPs and MLAs, they don't matter. Maybe, I'm saying maybe, some are very intelligent and very honest people in the politics. These are working as member of parliaments, and they have their own opinion, or maybe where they got elected and they are carrying the opinion of those public. So they would try to express this opinion and express this public support and public demand in their voting patterns. But the anti-defection law, that prevents these individual opinions, because according to this anti-defection law, no person cannot, no MP can vote against the party's statement, against the party's stand. That means we have established that party is much more important than the people of India. And the MPs, elected representatives, those were elected for something, but they don't have any value in front of party. Party is important. And you see, in India there is a system of first past the post system. In this system, suppose 10 candidates are there and one candidate is getting 12% of vote, although 88% of people, they don't vote for this person, but that person is gonna win the seat. And you see, out of this kind of winning, if somebody becomes a great leader and he leads these parties, and he may be having a blind following, a majority is following. And what is majority? As I told you, 12% would be majority here, because that person is ruling. So if that person has immense support, then that person is gonna affect the party's working, and that person is gonna rule the party. That means whatever this leader would decide, that would be the decision of the party, and whatever would be the decision of the party, that would be the decision of the MP. That means indirectly it is not a democracy, it is the leadership that is controlling everything, and that's why the system becomes tyrannous. These are the possibilities. Okay, so that's the problem with the anti-defection law. That is why the writer is saying this anti-defection law that should go. It's nowhere beneficial. It was brought as a 10th schedule in the constitution in 1985. At that time, there was a reason that many people were changing parties so frequently that they created a joke out of it. So that's why the curb on these kind of MPs and MLAs, that was necessary. So they brought anti-defection law, but that has proved to be much more negative, and it has actually undermined the democratic institution so heavily that the individual opinion of the elected representative, that does not have any kind of value. Whatever party says, that should be done. So that is why anti-defection law is also making a very important mains question, and you should write about this. Next, I'm going to talk about the Delhi's dilemma. This important issue is crucial, and it has been going on for the last 3 to 4 years, where Delhi is not a full state and Delhi is not a total union territory, because Constituent Assembly is there. Sorry, Legislative Assembly is there, and this Legislative Assembly hold some power. But you see, the issue erupted when some provisions were there under the NCT Act. NCT Act was brought in 1992. Actually, this Act of 1991, but it was it was made applicable in 1992 January. So according to it, LG has much of the power, and it can reserve any kind of bill for president, and whatever president is going to decide, that is going to be the law. And what is the thing that president is going to decide? It would be based on the opinion of the Council of Ministers headed by Prime Minister. So that is why indirectly center is going to rule in Delhi. That's the problem. But these people who are heading this Legislative Assembly and the Kejriwal government, they would want things to be on their side. They would want the autonomy. They would want the civil servants and all these officers working according to their methodology. But now they are working according to the LG. That is the trouble. So all kinds of hostilities, all kinds of disruptions, all kinds of troubles we have seen in the last 3 to 4 years. And you see, now there is a need that whether Delhi should be made a full state or it should be made a union territory, and this Legislative Assembly should be dissolved. Otherwise, there is no solution for this particular dilemma, because Delhi government, they don't have any kind of civil service of their own. These people are selected from the DANICs, the Delhi and Andaman Nicobar Island Civil Service. So these people are selected by the All India Examination of UPSC Civil Service, and these people are taken from here. And you see, indirectly these people are controlled by the LG of Delhi, and that is appointed by the center. So according to them, the government of Delhi, that is elected one, that does not have much of the power. Law and order situation is also out of its capacity. So certainly it is very difficult there to work in Delhi. And you see, this matter was so complex that it was given to a constitutional bench. So Justice Sikri there, he decided that it's right that lieutenant governor that can reserve bills for the president, but it's not like that you reserve every bill for the president's assent and president's direction. That should not be the norm. But here you are doing the same thing, everything you are referring to president. So that's a problematic thing. But you see, they cannot tell that what kind of issue is going to be controversial, and all kinds of troubles are going to erupt, and they are going to reserve these bills for the president. So that's a problem. So in the case of any dispute, the LG's view would prevail. Still, the decision is not clear. Even the constitutional bench has decided about it. But you see, still the dilemma remains, because the power separation and the power distribution is so complex, and it is totally based on the cooperative federalism, not on the competitive federalism. Here what we see, that is competitive federalism, and what is needed, that is cooperative federalism. And the governments, they should be on same page. There is no problem if there are same governments working in the government of Delhi and on the national scene, as a national government. If these both parties are same, there is no problem, as it was there during the Congress's tenure. If these parties are different, then certainly there are gonna be tussles, and certainly the center government, they have an edge. So that's the problem. So this power sharing should be balanced, and we should talk more about the cooperative federalism. And anyhow, we need to understand this thing, that there can be a solution for many things, but there cannot be solutions for everything. So that is why the quasi federal state of India and this cooperative federalism, that should be prevailed. Otherwise there is going to be no solution. It is not only about Delhi, it is about all the states, because there are tussles with the central government for many states now. West Bengal government, Telangana government, Andhra Pradesh government, and many other governments, they have trouble with the center. So that is why cooperative federalism should be the idea. Okay, and now the facts. GNK administration withdraws security to separatist leaders. These are given security, these separatists, and that's really a bizarre thing. But you see, now the rule is under governor, and after this incident, they have removed the security for these people. Next, central forces to be moved by air for Kashmir deployment. From now on, if these forces are to be taken to Srinagar, then whether it's Jammu or Delhi, they will be airlifted. Because in this issue, it was given that many security alerts were there, but still they did not allow them to be airlifted. We have all the planes available for showering flowers on our Kamadias and all, but we don't have airlifting services for our security personnel. That is really a joke, I must say. And now, because of this pressure, they are deciding now that they will be airlifted, and 6 days a week there is going to be a commercial flight daily. Next, I'm giving you a question. Find these the tiger reserves in our country, because the issue came and talked about the Tadoba Andheri National Park. It is there in Vidarbha region of Maharashtra, and Telangana is just located on the south. And I'm gonna ask you that put in comment section about these reserves, that which state is having the maximum number of tigers, and which tiger reserve having the maximum number of tigers. Okay, two questions. One is about the state, one is about the tiger reserve. And which tiger reserve has the maximum density of the tigers? That is also a question for you people. Okay, so find about that. And it's a great event that happened, where Stampede happened, because the sari was on 10 rupees offer. So it's a joke, a light-headed news. Next, scientists discover massive mountains under Earth's crust. You see, I would explain this issue in the next class, because I need to explain this interior of the Earth, that solid core is there inside, after that liquid core, after that mantle is there, after that crust is there. So they are finding a 660-kilometer boundary where mountains can be there under the crust. Okay, because crust is the outermost layer. So I would leave this thing aside, because I need to explain the earthquakes and volcanoes issue also with this issue. Next, agroforestry, when you are growing these crops, and alongside these crops you are also growing these trees, so that is called agroforestry. It's a very beneficial method because these are providing you physical barriers, physical protection, and soil erosion is also stopped because these roots of these big trees, they are going to hold these soils and the nutrients, and that is gonna help these crops to grow, and the ecosystem is also boosted for the farm. So that is why agroforestry is a great solution, and that is discussed in one of the news today. So I am telling you what is agroforestry. So trees or shrubs are grown around or among the crops. Okay, next it is about the black buck. Black buck is the state animal of Punjab. Okay, and you see many black bucks have died this year, and it is the Abohar Wildlife Sanctuary in Punjab. So I'm gonna ask you that if there any other state whose state animal is black buck, or any kind of protected area if it is there in India regarding black buck, point out that. These are the important question they may come up with in the prelims examination. Okay, so black buck sanctuaries are there for Barasingha, and you see the issue also is very famous with the Rajasthan's state animal, that is gazelle. So what is the difference between them? And Sangai deer is also found in Manipur, so that's a different species. So these all are species of deer only. Okay, so you need to read about them. Next, these are the MCQs. Try their answers in the comment section. And mains questions, I have given you many today on this particular article, 2-3 articles, and this is the group where I upload these PDFs. You can send me a request, I would approve. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Saini.